10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, and welcome to the Date Files, where we discuss everything wrong in the dating world, the horrible, the unbelievable, and the downright disastrous. The guy in the hot seat this week, his name is Mr. Foreclosure. He is about 8 years older than I was. He says he was financially secure. He's supposedly a top designer at his interior design firm. That should have been my first red flag, as my ex-husband was an interior designer. So probably should have stopped there, but whatever. So we lived over an hour and a half away from each other, but that didn't seem to bother him and it didn't bother me. So we agreed to meet for a brunch date. We go to a really nice place. We go to brunch. He's dressed nice. I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm like, he knows how to dress for a date. I'm like, this is going to be good. So we have brunch. Everything's great. He says, well, I don't want the day to end. Do you have anything else to do? So we decided to go to see a movie. We go to the mall when the movie's playing. We walk around for a little bit before the movie, and we walk after the movie as well. So we've been together for like 5, maybe 6 hours at this point. So then he asks if I want to come over for dinner. He wants to make me dinner. And I was like, well, all right. I was like, he seems to be so far so good. So I agree. As I'm following into his neighborhood, he calls and tells me that he's going to open the garage so I can park inside because he doesn't want to see anyone's car. He doesn't want his neighbors to see anyone's car out there. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. I was a little hesitant. As hello, horror movies, he's going to trap me inside his garage. So he finally agrees, fine, just park on the street, whatever. He wasn't too happy about that. So I was like making excuses like I don't like to park in closed spaces. I like to hit things, whatever. So we agreed. So park on the street. And his house, oh my goodness, is immaculate. It is pristine. Everything is in place. There's not one speck of dirt anywhere. And who really has a bowl of fresh lemons on their dining room table? Like it is picture perfect, ready for like Better Homes and Gardens magazines. Like it is amazingly. So I was like, wow, I'm like, this place looks awfully like staged. Like it was just beyond words. So I was like, oh, well, I was like, I'm thinking, I need to know who his cleaning lady is. I was like, because this guy is amazing. I was like, maybe he's this clean. I was like, I don't know. So he starts making dinner. Second red flag, he cooked his steak like super, super well done. Like we're talking on the verge of being beef jerky at this point. It was gross. I was like, I was like, that's a mighty great steak because it's dead now. So I was just like, wow. I was like, you don't like your steaks like medium well? Oh no, I have to be fully cooked. And I was like, okay. So we're watching TV. Actually, it was a basketball game. It was the Celtics game. He was a big Celtics fan. And he says that he can see us together. He can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together. What? The rest of our lives together? I was like, stop the BS train. What? You want to spend the rest of your life together? We've had one day together. I was like, okay. And so I was like, it's time for me to get going. I was like, yeah, I'm looking for long term, but not after one day. So I politely excuse myself. I say, I do have a drive ahead of me. So he's like, okay. He's like, fine. So opens the door. We see his neighbor is outside walking his dog. The neighbor's back is turned to us. And he quickly lets go of my hand. And he walks me to my cart and he says, well, thanks for coming over to see the house, and shakes my hand. I was like, really? So I look at the neighbor and I look back at him and I was like, are you married and you can't have somebody here? And he's like, no, I'm definitely not married. He goes, I'm divorced. And I was like, okay, so why am I looking at your house all of a sudden? So I was like, all right, goodbye. So on the drive home, I'm thinking, wow, maybe he really is married. But there was no evidence of a woman in the house. Like I looked in the like obviously I looked in the bathroom. Like who doesn't? Come on now. So I call my bestie. I tell her the whole bizarre situation. She says, well, you are the best detective and should probably dig into this. And I was like, yep, I probably should. So I get home and I do just that. I research him and I research the bejesus out of him. Like, he is divorced, so that checks out. He does have two sons, that checks out. He does work where he says he works because he's listed on the website. Like, I can book an appointment with an interior design consultation, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I find the golden ticket. I find why he's like super like clingy, lovey dovey. His house is in foreclosure and he has 2 weeks to move. I find the link to schedule their, like, I can start bidding on his house and everything. I can view appointments. I can book appointments to view the house. So that is why his house was in pristine staging order. It was because he has to have it that way because people are about to bid on his house because he's in foreclosure. And I was just like, wow. So I call the bestie back. She's like, what are you going to do? And I was like, do I call him out on it? Do I just play it along? Do I just ghost him at this point? Like, what is the deal? So I'm not sure. But I do let him know that I got home and a little bit ago and all is good. He asks, when can he see me again? He wants to come over to my house. He says he wants to stay for a few days, maybe over the weekend. And I was, we'll see. The next day, I wake up and I actually stepped into some water on my bathroom floor. So I'm thinking, and it's coming from the water heater. So I'm like, great, the water heater's broken. So I turn off the power to the bathroom, turn off the water main. I'll deal with it after work. So I come home after work and I'm like, okay, it's the water heater because there wasn't much damage. There wasn't much water. There's not anything damaged. So I'm like, all right, great. No biggie. Get a new water tank. Nope. Turned out to be a broken pipe in the foundation. So I'm telling all of this to Mr. Foreclosure. And he's actually getting upset that I haven't invited him over. I say, look, I have no running water in my house at this point, and you want me to invite you over? I was like, no. I was like, I have enough to deal with. I don't need to entertain you and have you worried about this. I was like, no. I was like, why? Do you have plumbing skills that you could help me in this? No, I don't know how to do any like handiwork. I'm like, then why would I invite you over if you're going to be like a hindrance? Like, if you can't help me, then don't ask me to come over. Like, seriously, people. So 2 days later, the pipe is fixed. He's still upset that he hasn't came to visit me. He wants to see where he's going to be living. And I was like, what? I was like, you are not moving in with me, buddy. I was like, chill out. I was like, we're going to have to like politely disagree on that one. So I was just like, oh my God, who does this? And I was like, all right. So I politely tell him we are not going to be a match. I'm not looking to move in with anyone for a while. Yes, I'm looking for a relationship, but to kind of take it slow and build a friendship and see where it goes. I was like, who goes on one date and says they want to move in with each other? Mr. Foreclosure, that too. He, because he's about to lose his house. And that was his only mission, was to find a new place to live. Like, he probably could have cared less if we actually were compatible or whatever. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not move in with somebody after one date. Like, there's nothing good going to come of that. So, send me an email if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever known someone that was like instantly attracted to each other and they like fell? I mean, we're not even talking love. Like, come on. This was just, he had a need to find a place to live. That was it. So he was going to make whatever situation work. I've heard stories of like, oh, they've met only 3 weeks and they're married, kind of BS. But yeah, I don't follow that line. As you can see, it's been 21 years that I've been single, mostly by choice. So I didn't think it could get any worse than the married guy and Mr. STD guy. But now I've added Mr. Foreclosure guy, and you will see how it could get worse next week with Mr. Sci-Fi guy. Have a great week. Stay safe. Happy dating. Do not move in with someone after one date, and have a good week. Adios.